thought this would just get like 40 likes, and a few people who agree with me would enjoy this as well. However, this also this really set the platform on fire, this one. Then it started spiraling to the point where even normal people started taking notice, and they were like, no, he's right, that was cringe. So, a couple weeks ago, I made a few tweets on Twitter in response to some of the FF7 conversation going around, like Hamaguchi saying that you should play the remakes before the original, and I accidentally set the entire platform on fire. The drama originally started blowing up in the FF section of Twitter, but then it snowballed out of proportion so massively that even normal people started to see it. And yeah, let's just explain, let's just dig into how that happened from start to finish. So it starts with this tweet over here, all right? By Genki. Naoki Hamaguchi says he would like people to play the FF7 remake first if they have not yet played the original FF7. Yeah, if you have not played it before, I would like you to experience the remake first with the new graphics and presentation. Have that be your first impression of the game. Now, what was interesting about this tweet, right? And you can see it got a lot of traction, like a lot of bookmarks, a lot of likes, a lot of the quote tweets of this, and this is what's so interesting. This is such a baffling statement that even people who love FF7 Remake and Rebirth were retweeting this and saying, don't do that. These are sequels, man. These are not remakes. They won't make sense unless you play the original. So the fact that even people who love the series were retweeting this saying, no, what are you doing? I thought that was really interesting. But I don't know, it also concerned me because whenever people say that these do not replace the original, whether he intends this or not, that feels like it's almost an intention to replace it somewhat, you know. There are a lot of people who say that after playing the remakes, they can't play the OG because, you know, their 20-year-old TikTok broccoli-haired orange justice dancing Fortnite flossing brains can't handle the beautiful Minecraft polygonal field models of the OG that are still beautiful to me, damn it, you know. And I'm memeing when I say that, but I have also seen people say that. They'll say that the OGs are unplayable after they've touched the remakes. I almost wonder, is that somewhat intentional? But look, let's give Hamaguchi the benefit of a doubt. Let's take off the tinfoil hat. Let's maybe just say, maybe the most basic theory, Occam's razor, is that they just want to make money. All right. Rebirth did not sell well. Part 3 will sell worse because Rebirth turned off a lot of people. Rebirth turned off a lot of people with its cringe, which is not the same as the charm or the goofy moments in the OG, all right? There's a difference between the charm of the OG and the relentless, brutal Thor Love and Thunder levels cringe in Rebirth. It turned people off because of its incredibly sluggish pacing, which again was baffling to me that I saw Hamaguchi say that he thought Rebirth was well-paced. And I see people in the comments saying that Rebirth is well-paced. And I'm like, did we play the same game? Like, the Cat Sith box throwing segment alone, like, destroys that argument. One section destroys that whole argument, and that's not the only one. You can do it, you can talk about the 3-second pauses between many of, like, every line, or it feels like every line. Just an extremely slow, ponderous pacing of the thing as a whole, which is a result of splitting this game into 3 parts. There was no reason to do that to begin with. Even if you kept it faithful, splitting it into 3 parts kind of dooms it from the start. And I hear many people say that, like, oh, FF7's too big to be one game. Well, my counter-argument to that is that if The Witcher 3 and Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring can tell their stories in one game, then so can FF7. All those games are gigantically bigger than the original FF7, okay? You don't have to split this into 3 games. You don't even have to split this into 2, my god. Also, I do want to say, guys, before I continue, I don't mean any disrespect to the devs, whether it be Hamaguchi, whether it be Nomura, Nojima, Kitase, alright, I'm not attacking the people, but I am criticizing the work. I am attacking the problem. So I retweeted this, and I said, look, with all due respect, this, telling people to play Remake before the OG, this is like telling someone to watch the Rey Skywalker trilogy before the original Star Wars. It's like telling someone to watch Rings of Power before Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. It's like telling someone to watch The Matrix 4 before The Matrix 1. Now, some people interpreted that as saying it's a pure sequel. But again, Square is so vague about what these remakes are that not even the fandom can agree on this. Because I had to clarify this thing. I'm not talking about these being sequels. I'm talking about the difference in storytelling quality between the two. OG FF7 is concise, impactful, and memorable. Rebirth is bloated, forgettable, and cringe. To which, Rebirth is forgettable, a man that cannot stop talking about it and making videos about it. You know what? Guilty. Gosh, I'll do it again. Well, that's the thing. I would like to forget it, but it's impossible to forget this because wherever you go, wherever you want to see or talk about FF7, there's this rubbish perpetually invading the conversation and hanging over it like a bad smell. Your 1% echo chamber would agree. Otherwise, no one takes you seriously. Don't worry about it. Well, I thought an appropriate response to that, of course, was... Now, look, that was my go-to response for practically everyone who was insulting me on there. But I mean, how can you really argue with that? I mean, you know, the evidence speaks for itself right there. Now, this tweet, this one went absolutely nuclear. I say that FF7 Rebirth butchered the tone of the original game. Even minor scenes like this get turned into Disney musical numbers. Now, tell me, chat. I'm going to show you two scenes, all right? You are going to see one scene in the original FF7, and then you're going to see that same scene in FF7 Rebirth. And the one question I have to ask you is that the same picture? Did the remake version capture the tone of the original? All right, let's begin. Right, so that's how the OG did it. Now let's see how, with the mere addition of voice acting and nothing else, let's see how that scene was always meant to look.
Rude, you mind? This your first time?
If you want to drink with us, you're gonna have to lose the helmets. No scout, no service.
Now, I'm not saying you can't like the new scene. Maybe you do. Maybe this is what bald people do in their free time. They gather in bars, they sing about being bald and polishing their heads, and then they rub them together as an act of solidarity. Maybe you like that. However, would you say that that captures the tone of the original? Would you say that that is the same vibe? No, it's not! So, I made that tweet to talk about how the vibes of the remake and the original were different, and yes, that was one. This tweet somehow was considered rage bait and a troll and a lie, and clearly I've never played the OG, even though we all know that's not true. This tweet is one that spiraled out of control. Like, people were disagreeing with this, but people were getting angry about this one. And let's have a look at the comments. Let's see the warm reception to this tweet. Which was, "You must be trolling, I can't take you seriously." 350 likes. Rebirth feels like a troll, that's what I said. 50 likes. Hey, you know what? Proves I'm the underdog. But for real, this kind of shows you the bubble that, with all due respect, a lot of the FF7R fandom lives in, because there is no counter-argument here. There's none. These are clearly different vibes, clearly different tones. This could almost be something out of Metal Gear Solid. This is like Entangled when they go into the bar and all the villains are singing about how they may look evil, but they're actually nice guys or something like that. I think that's the movie. But what a lot of the FF7R fandom will do is they will just say you didn't play the OG game, they'll call you wrong, or whatever, fake fan, and then they all upvote each other to look right. But one thing they never do is provide any counter-arguments or any evidence that disproves your point. They never do it. And what I like so much about Twitter is that you can attach evidence to everything you say. They can do that as well. They just don't, for the most part. And maybe they did, maybe I lost it in some of the comments somewhere, but I didn't see it for the most part. Farming this gimmick for all it's worth. It's not a gimmick, it's a fact. It's called fun. It's called shit. I mean, look, I am being a bit childish with my responses here, but like, I'm just fucking about, all right? It was actually great in Remake. Stop whining. No. See, that's where I'm like the, you know in Lord of the Rings, where Hugo Weaving's like, cast the ring into the fire. He's just like, no. That's just my response whenever anyone tells me to stop. You sound like someone who didn't play the OG game. I did play the OG game. Then you know how silly it can be. And here's my answer to that, which is the OG FF7 is a serious game with silly moments, whereas Rebirth is a clown show that can't even do its serious scenes well. It is non-stop cringe and embarrassing in a way that the original was not. All right, we all lived through, for those of us who lived through that time period, no one said, bro, you gotta play FF7. It's cringe. It's embarrassing. It's a real clown show. You know, it's like, no, it wasn't. It was considered unusually mature and very serious in tone for its time. It was very respected. It raised the bar of what video games could do in a way. Certain scenes like Red 13 discovering the truth about his father, Dyne's suicide, Eris's death, these were more powerful and moving to many of us who played it than actual movie scenes were. It was unbelievable what this game was able to do for its time, and that is what that game was famous for. That game was not famous for being cringe, all right? Rebirth, on the other hand, it's non-stop shenanigans, and as we've seen with Dyne's death scene, Red 13 discovering the truth of his father, C2, Eris's death scene, it can't even do its serious scenes well. For many people who played Rebirth, the one scene that actually got an emotion out of a lot of people was the expanded scene of Eris as a child when she's walking around Midgar asking people to help her mum because she's sick and dying. The feeling of walking around as this defenseless kid with her music playing, just like asking people for help, it did something. In fact, many reviewers have even said they felt more in that scene than when she actually died. You know what I mean? So, that's what I would say. The OG FF7 is a serious game with silly moments. Rebirth is a clown show that can't even do its serious scenes well. Except that one scene. And even that Eris scene, the flashback child scene, they ruin it because they have no subtlety. There's a bit where she bumps into a guy and he just moves back and she falls on the floor, you know, this 5-year-old kid, and he's like, and stay down, brat. And the women he's with are like, oh my god, you just pushed a kid. That's so hot. It's like, man, look, you don't have to do that, man. Like, we get it, all right? We get it. You don't have to be that unsubtle. It could have just been like, she falls over and he's like, hey, watch where you're going. You know, like not bullying her, but just like indifferent, you know. It just would have been better. Stupid, you know. Even one of the best new scenes in the game got ruined by Disney adult writing. What else can I call it? So that was the first tweet that started doing the rounds with everyone angry with me about this. This also was a thing, and then this one, oh my god, I thought this would just get like 40 likes, you know, and a few people who agree with me would enjoy this as well. However, this also this really set the platform on fire, this one. Now, the tweet is called, "The cringe in FF7 Rebirth is next level. Who is this even made for?" Ladies and gentlemen, don't say I didn't warn you. And don't look away. This is real. This is in the game.
Just listening. You've got a great voice.
Oh, you flatter me. I didn't even know I was doing it. You see, this cat I feed sometimes has gone missing. And when I worry, I cannot help but sing. Long I've dreamed of opening my home to little ones to play and romp and love. La 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 la.
Shut up!
Just listen.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! This is FF7 Love and Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. And it doesn't matter that it's a bloody side quest, all right? You put that in God of War, you put that in Metal Gear Solid, you put that in The Witcher, you put that in anything, and it's stupid, all right? So as you can imagine, that tweet was very warmly received among the FF7 Remake community. And yes, this also did snowball into astronomical... this also did snowball. Before blocking you, I just want to say you are pathetic for these rage baits that you are posting. 309. I thought that was a rather good tweet, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it actually pointed out a legitimate problem, because here's the thing. There are people who might like that, all right? But most normal people don't. Scenes like that are massively cringe and a huge turnoff. For these games. And if Square wants to know why their games aren't selling as well, it's because of shit like that. Anyway, I gave this person a very mature response, which was... I may have used that quite a bit in some of these. But like, also, and people would say I was being rude or whatever. Look, if people are respectful to me and they disagree with me, I'm respectful back. But if people insult me to my face, like... I'm not going to insult back, but I'm going to take a joking tone, all right? I'm going to have fun with it. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm sorry. No, change my ways. You know, like, come on, man. Like, fuck, I'm going to stand up for myself. I hope they had another 100 silly scenes in the next part just to annoy you specifically. You know what? I actually respect that. You know what? You all right. So, I'll be, well, that's some material for 100 new vids. So... You have bad taste and shit opinions. The sooner you move on to a different series, the better. This scene is good taste. Let's see what I have. Now here's a very interesting one. My favorite thing is when people show that they haven't played FF7. 170 likes. So I'm like, okay, where is this in the OG game? No, seriously, where is this in the original game? And let's see where this thread goes. In the OG, there's a person who was in that house and they tell you, like, to get out. That's true, okay? When does that NPC burst out into song multiple times? Let's do a little investigation here, all right? So, if I didn't like that scene, if I didn't like the singing lady, then clearly I haven't played the OG. She's there, right? Okay, if I play the OG, I should have expected that. Let's have a look at how that scene is in the OG. Let's see the one scene that NPC has in the original. See if you can spot the difference. Now, that has a certain atmosphere, right? That has a certain tone, doesn't it? Let's see how that scene looks in Rebirth. And ladies and gentlemen, just remember, this is exactly the same.
Let's take a little break.
According to the FF7 Remake fandom, this is the same picture.
Your house since I was, what, 7, 8?
Isn't really mine, though.
Oh dear, may I help you?
Just listening. You've got a great voice.
Oh, you flatter me. I didn't even know I was doing it. You see, this cat I feed sometimes has gone missing. And when I worry, I cannot help but sing.
Hey. Sounds like a job for a merc, doesn't it?
Why, I sing whenever the mood strikes, really. Haven't you ever felt like bursting into song?
No, I can't say I have.
Now, chat, let me ask you a question, all right? Let me ask you a question. You all saw that, and then you saw this. Is that the same scene? if someone doesn't like this, would you say, oh, someone hasn't played the original? Would you say that the new one captured the tone of this scene? Would you say that was the same vibe? Would you say that that feels like the original, even remotely in any way at all? Spoilers, no! But as I say, guys, as I say, this is how, let me put this back on. As I say, this is how not all, but a lot of the FF7 fan base will argue. They lie to your face, then they all upvote each other so they look right. All right? They can do this in text form. But what they can't do is use evidence, because the evidence isn't on their side. They never engage with the argument, and whenever they try, you get like the world's longest essay full of mental backflips and excuses that they would never make for any other game or any other company. Now this tweet also went nuclear. Now the reason I made this tweet was actually to like clear up a misunderstanding when it comes to the criticism regarding Red 13's real voice in Rebirth. All right, so something I notice a lot, right? Everyone knows that Red is young for his age, all right? Yes, he's 48, but his species lives 500, so like, you know, he's a teenager for his species. Every single person in the world knows this plot point, all right? Everyone, okay? Even Joe Biden, all right? Now, when people say I fucking hate his voice, what defenders of his voice will say is, oh, you don't realize he does this in the OG, all right? They'll say, oh, you don't know that he's young for his age. It's like, no, we know he's young for his age, but that doesn't mean that he has to sound like Morty, like Deku, like the literal anime meme. You know that thing's like, oh no, there's a gamer girl in my lobby. He doesn't have to sound like that. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, let's play his voice. Let's see what Red 13's real voice sounds like in FF7 Rebirth.
Hey, guys! It's me! I'm back! We were so worried. Oh, come home.
Whoa.
We're really gonna miss you, Red.
Oh, don't say that. You're only making this harder. I'm not a child anymore. I'm 48.
Hey, you're gonna drool on the seat.
Close call. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, God, that's a lot of kicks in the balls in 30 seconds, isn't it? I don't like this part.
Hey, you're gonna drool on the seat.
Close call.
I don't like the idea of like Red 13 just slobbering everywhere. Nothing like that is mentioned in the OG to my memory. I mean, his nose dries up in Costa del Sol. Wow, that's it. But now he's just become this big lumbering idiot. And then, I mean, well, need I say more?
Everyone's a winner.
But nothing will beat this. Now, I am not insulting the voice actor, and I'm not insulting the performance, all right? I'm saying that this is a stupid voice for Red, all right? This is like casting... If you cast Michael Cera as Morpheus or Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, not the right fit, all right? It doesn't feel right. People be like, what the fuck is this? No one would be saying that Michael Cera is a bad actor. It's just not the right casting choice. Or not the right vocal choice of the character. But the reason I made this tweet, right, okay... To a normal person, this voice sounds cringe. To an anime person, this voice sounds normal. When normal people say they hate Red's uwu voice, anime people interpret this as them not knowing that Red is young for his species. I can see why people got angry about this. Now, before I continue, I'm an anime person, alright? I watch a lot of anime. Okay, when I say anime person, what I mean is someone who has watched 1,000 hours of English dub to the point where to them that voice sounds normal, all right? To the point where if someone says they hate this voice, all right? Hang on.
Miss you, Red.
Oh, don't say that. You're only making this harder.
Where if someone says they don't like that Red has that voice, the anime person cannot understand why. It doesn't compute. They don't understand that you don't like the voice. They think that you don't know that he's young for his species. That's the whole purpose of this tweet. Now, did I say it in a way that would annoy a lot of people and get attention? Yes, because I did want to draw attention to this, because this is bullshit. It's a character assassination. So that's why I called it a huge scientific breakthrough in FF7 Sociology. But the thing is, right, it is a huge breakthrough in scientific, in FF7 Sociology. I cracked the code. I figured out why there is this miscommunication. Why, when people say they hate this voice, people who defend it don't seem to understand. Now, some will lie, all right, you know, I'm not a fan of them, but there are people who actually don't understand what you're criticizing. They don't get you're criticizing the voice. They think you don't know he's young for his species. That's it. This, unironically, chat, is a huge scientific breakthrough in FF7 Sociology. I have argued with hundreds of people on the internet to finally reach this breakthrough, all right? In fact, I think I deserve an honorary PhD for my contribution to science and this conversation. Everyone knows this major plot point. The complaint is not that he's a teen for his species. The complaint is that his real voice is embarrassing to listen to. I hope that clears things up. More FF7 lectures to come. I'm going to tell you the most advanced level of defense for this embarrassing voice, all right? So what FF7R defenders will say is that in the original Japanese translation, Red 13 uses watashi pronouns, but when he gets to Cosmo Canyon, he uses oira. Now, what they will then do is they will lie to your face, and they will say that oira is only used by children. Therefore, the child voice was always a thing in the OG, and you didn't know because you don't speak Japanese. Now, the reality, okay, the actual fact is that oira pronouns are used by country people, like rural country bumpkin people. That's kind of like, that's at least what I've found after a lot of research, all right? So, which makes sense for Red, because Cosmo Canyon is about as far out in the country as you can possibly imagine. So, there you go. So, rage baiting for the algorithm isn't lecturing. It's not rage bait. It's the truth. But that's the thing. I say this in a way that got everyone's attention and put their attention on it. But this does need to be talked about. A lot of people are pissed off about this, and a lot of people who have made this criticism get gaslit into the ground and bullied into silence. All right? Well, sorry, mate. We're talking about this. It's stupid. See, agreed. You know the devs of the OG game worked on this, right? I do. And with all due respect, it's like watching your favorite band 20 to 30 years later, washed up and out of touch. All right? And I do say that with all due respect. Like, just because, you know, it's them, just because it's like some of the same devs, it doesn't mean that literally everything they touch turns to gold. All right? There's people who are fans of FF7 Remake, and they don't treat these games as games. And they don't treat the devs as devs. They treat these games as their religion. They treat these games as their sacred texts. And they treat the devs as their priests. All right? So if the dev intended this, or if the dev did this, you have to like it. Because it was written. Because it was carved in stone. Because they did it. And their word is infallible. There's a section of the fandom who every mistake, every flaw, every problem, every major issue, every misstep is actually all part of some master plan that you, the plebs, are simply too stupid to understand, all right? But if you only try hard enough, if you just keep trying to have fun, then eventually you'll have fun, all right? If you just keep trying to enjoy it, then maybe you will start to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, this is not how fun works, man. Like, it shows that a section of this fan base has become a cult. It's probably the most annoying immersion-breaking part of the game. It's impossible to get used to. Isn't it interesting? Here in the comments, people are starting to agree now. In the previous ones, it was just the FF section of Twitter just ripping on me. But now there's more and more people like, this is terrible, man. This is indefensible. Gotta pay the bills somehow. I'm not monetized on Twitter. I do this for free. In fact, let me add something. If I had to pay $10 US every time I made one of these tweets, I would do that. All right, this isn't about the money. And I want to say to some people who think that this is just like the grift, this is all for money. No. If you only think in terms of money, one, that says a lot about how you think. And two, you will never understand. why I make these videos, why I make these tweets, if you think it's only about money. You'll never understand it, all right? Also, thank you for bringing it up, because I didn't even know you can monetize tweets. I like, when people kept saying that, I was like, you can get paid for tweets? I don't care if I make money over this. I don't care. I would pay money to make these tweets, because one of the most infuriating things to watch in the world is watch history get rewritten in real time around the original FF7. To see the lies and gaslights saying that the OG FF7 was always like this, that the remakes captured the tone of the original, that if you hate the cringe and relentless Disney bullshit of this, then you never played the OG. Can't stand it. Cannot stand people saying that this is it's basically the same story. No, it's not. Captured the spirit of the OG, captured the tone. No, it didn't. All right. That is why I make these. And while it's not the only thing I do. Right now, I'm kind of specced into it. It's not the only thing I do. There's a lot of. In fact, we're going to stream mouthwashing later on today. But few things right now give me more pleasure than going out and arguing and fighting against this ultimate dishonesty and this ultimate stupidity. All right. It was these three tweets that got the ball rolling. The Red 13 voice one, the singing lady, and the rude bald bar. And I think it was probably amplified by me making comments on this. By this time, a lot of the FF Twitter sphere was retweeting me, calling me a fucking idiot, saying I've never played the OG, so on and so forth, or I'm wrong, even though the evidence is like right in front of your fucking eyes. And then it spiraled. Then it started spiraling to the point where even normal people started taking notice, and they were like, no, he's right. That was cringe. Those two scenes do not have the same tone, and so on and so forth. So they started commenting on it as well, which is really interesting. I saw quite a big YouTuber say that, like, I know everyone hates this guy right now, but he's right. Like, these stupid, cringy, boring parts, they are the reason I quit Rebirth. You know, like, this isn't wrong. And so, but anyway, let's continue. It reached the point where everyone was just saying I was rage baiting, trolling, grifting, and then I thought, you know what? Let's make a serious statement, all right? Let's like now. Look, this was like maybe 6 a.m. in the morning. Look, I'm good now, but this was quite unpleasant. Okay, this was quite unpleasant to be going through this and seeing a lot of people tweeting about me, quite clearly talking about me, but not saying my name, obviously, and so on and so forth. And I thought, no, I'm going to set the record straight, all right? You think this is just trolling or joking? I'm going to say, here's what I really think, okay? Some people think I'm rage baiting, but I'm not. I say things in a joking way, but I am serious about this. Final Fantasy used to be the best series in the world, or one of the best, whatever you want to say. Final Fantasy used to be the best series in the world, and now it's not. And it won't ever be again if we keep shielding it from criticism and attacking anyone who points out its gaping, obvious, critical flaws. Alright? And what I mean by that is, well, I mean, you all saw what happened to me on that last week of Twitter, but like, from trying to shield this game from criticism is not going to help the devs. Alright? If Square's devs are like, fuck man, I don't get it. Everyone said, they all say they like it, but it's not selling. What's going on? Alright? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. A rabid section of this fandom has bullied and intimidated every critic into silence, okay? And then has turned around and had the audacity to say, see, no one's complaining. So that's what it is. You know, it's like a very controlled conversation in that regard. You want to see why more people don't criticize 7 Remake and Rebirth? Just look what happened to me on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. That's why. And the thing is, I'm okay. I can work with that, all right? I'm not a normal person either, okay? I'm like a Warhammer 40k orc, all right? I can thrive in this chaos and in this conflict. Like, there's many people who just want to be normal, and they will just be like, you know what, it's not worth it, all right? There's many people who just back down when they meet resistance. Well, in this case, because I care about this, I didn't, you know? It's not fun having this entire, you know, a section of this fandom call you an idiot, but it's still better than saying nothing. Saying nothing is worse, all right? Because then it just builds up and then comes out in some, you know, angry rant. I'd rather just say what I think. If you agree with it, great. And if you don't, well, fuck it, I'll just have to tank the hit then. Art in video game matters, especially when you remake one of the greatest stories in the medium. 7 Remake and Rebirth may have modern graphics, but they have lost what made the 1997 game so special artistically. Every major scene in this game has been rewritten to be less impactful than it was in the original. Cloud's flashback, the pillar collapse, Midgar's Zolom, Dyne's death, Aeris's death, President Shinra's death, Red 13's reveal with Sito. And when it's not rewriting these scenes to be less effective, it's adding extra segments that are pointless and boring. Gongaga, Cat-Sith, box throwing, low-stakes scenes of Zack doing nothing. This game's filler has filler. And it does. I mean, when we looked at Cosmo Canyon in Rebirth, after Red has his scene with his father, before that scene even has time to breathe, the G Tribe show up to tell you just a bunch of bullshit no one cares about, and in the middle of that, you get like a huge, long, boring Zack scene. Zack and Biggs walk around doing nothing, and then they meet up with Kiri. Then it comes back to the G Tribe, and then they just say, oh, we're aliens from another planet, and because we're not from here, when we die, we can't return to the live stream, so we're cursed with immortality, so we made the black materia, because all we wanted to do was blow up the entire world so we could finally die, and then the ancients, those assholes, had the audacity to stop us. So yeah, basically, it's like, this is stupid. This is actually dumb. You know, I don't know. The whole thing was completely unnecessary. I think that the G Tribe in the original work a lot better when they are actually simply a race of savage psychopaths who want to kill everyone in Cosmo Canyon. And even after Red 13's dad has stopped them, they still just exist there in spirit form as absolute psychopaths. I think that's just way cooler. It's way simpler and cleaner. It works better because now we just got this stupid thing to deal with, you know. And putting it at the end of that scene and then interrupting it with Zack stuff is ridiculous. If the series wants to be taken seriously again by people who aren't already diehard FF fans, things like this matter. Final Fantasy used to be a highly respected name. Now it's just expensive, weird, and disappointing. Is that a harsh critique? Yes, it is. But fuck, man, it needs to be said, you know? It's just always massively expensive. It's always disappointing. It's always good in a few ways and bad in many big ways that it didn't need to be. It's always bad in the most avoidable ways possible. And it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, Prompto is fucking just stupid. Prompto's weird. Now, this is Now, this tweet I made here got quite a bit of traction. Got about 180,000 views, 1,300 likes, a lot of retweets and all that. And let's see what the comments say here. Perfectly said. You know what, Worski? You were right. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. I don't know how anyone would think this is rage baiting or attacking people that state this. All I see is passionate fans who love the game and care. You know, I appreciate this post. Never finished the PlayStation version. I was hoping the remake wouldn't let me have to, but from what I hear, they really did change a lot. They did. Your criticisms come from a place of passion and knowledge about the franchise. I agree. Modern day Square Enix is not on the same level as it was. I mean, it isn't, you know. I don't think 7 needed a remake. Just create new stories, you know. You know what, Sabrina? You were right. Why just proactively post negativity? Why not spam post about your love on E33? Well, don't worry, I've already done that. I think I've made more shorts promoting E33 than probably anyone else on the entire internet. And I actually think that. If you can find someone who's done more pro E33 shorts than me, by all means, you know, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't think you're rage baiting, but your content on games you like is more engaging. Okay, well, here's my answer, right? Because if no one else is going to point out these problems, I will. One of the reasons my channel grew so fast in such a short amount of time is because, like, I was No one else was doing this. Like, yes, there are many people who are critiquing parts of the game or something, so on and so forth. But for whatever reason, I don't know, it wasn't hitting the same way that I was doing it. There's people with similar opinions to me, but they keep quiet because they have seen what happens to people who speak up. People are calling for my head because I criticized the game. Okay, they're not... Well, I mean, no, there have been some thinly veiled threats. There were people saying that, like, career over, you know, or they were saying it was a career-ending move, so on and so forth. But, like, to me, I was thinking, how did you guys not know this about me? Like, everyone who's been in my stream since Rebirth launch knows that I don't like this game. I've been posting shorts on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for the last 6 months saying I don't like this game. If people on Twitter didn't know that I didn't like it, then they weren't watching me to begin with. It's just true. It's just true. What can that do for you? You know? So my answer is, look, because the poor writing, relentless cringe, and the butchered storytelling is what's turning a lot of people away from this series. You know what I mean? There's a reason Rebirth sales aren't great, and it's pure cope to think that this is only because of PS5 exclusivity. You know what I mean? Is PS5 exclusivity a factor? Yes. Is it the only factor? No. But Rebirth fans will tell you it's the only factor. Or they'll say that, like, oh, sequels always do badly. No, they don't! I don't even need to debunk that. It's just fucking true. I like making positive content too, but I am sick of the bullying and the gaslighting surrounding this game. That's why I make these posts. And... You know what? Matthew Dixon? You all right. Because he actually... He doesn't just sit there and insult me. He actually listens to what I says, and he says, look, don't get me wrong, there's a few things I don't like about it, but I found more positives than negatives, like how they made a bigger effort to show the bonds between the party. I get what you're saying, though. You know, we can't have an improvement without the conversation. I respect that. You all right? I was surprised this did really well, man. I talk about how the laughing in FF7 Remake is laughably bad, you know? You go from, like, discovering President Shinra's dead... The guy you thought was the strongest villain in the game gets killed off-stream by an unknown entity. It's like, oh, what? Who is this Sephiroth guy? And then, what do we have? And then, you get this.
Please help me! Hey! Is anyone out there?
Wait, did I say killed off stream? Yeah, see? Oh god, I've got brain rot. Alright, let's continue.
Help me! Well. Pull me up! I'll give you all the money you want! I have killed plenty of it!
Literal children's cartoon writing. Like really drink that line in, guys. Really drink that in.
I'll give you all the money you want. I have killed plenty of it.
It's just, it's so shit. It's so shit. So people were like, yeah, okay, what the fuck, man? That did really well. Now Dyne's, oh my god. You know what? I am very proud of what I did with this. Dyne is absolutely nuclear, man, because as you can see in this, right, OG Dyne says he is going to shoot Marlene's head off. When he finds out Marlene's still alive, he's going to go and shoot her head off so that his dead wife is not alone in the afterlife. Like, that's really fucking serious, man. And that's why they fight. And then Dyne basically ends on this moment of redemption. He says, you know what, Barrett? I trust you to take care of her. You don't ever make her cry. Those rays of sun, this redemption on the crosses as well. So, yeah, all this was rewritten for Rebirth, for ratings. Now look how that scene would look, minus those pesky hardware limitations.
Marlene, set a place for Barrett. Yeah, he's looking fit as a fiddle. Hell's his kind doing here? You son of a bitch. Still living on Shinra's kill.
No, man. It ain't like that.
You here to help me? Remember when we had that rat problem? You and me set traps, and you got caught in one of them.
Now I'm just picturing Barrett, like, falling into a mousetrap. Like, it's like, yeah. Wow, they really, they expanded the relationships with the characters. No, that's just fan fiction. That's just lazy writing. That's just stupid writing. It's just fan fiction crap.
She's alive. Just turned 4. She's in Midgar.
I can't stand that. That little grab. I just think it makes him look so childish and immature. It's like, it's almost sickening to watch, like, this behavior. It's not even the same character at this point. No longer unalives himself. It's just he goes out in a hail of bullets. It's a pity, because I think his character model actually looks fucking sick. I think it looks kind of cool, man, you know? But they butchered his character in the process.
Dyne. Hey.
Instead of a moment of redemption and forgiveness on Barrett, we get this.
You carry that guilt, that weight.
It ends on a moment of hate, but the music thinks this is some triumphant happy moment. Like, what is this dog shit? It's not good writing. For God's sake, it's rubbish. Wait for it. Wait for it. And now, the fun part. And now the one thing that this scene needed. And back to Dyne and Barrett. Yeah, because that really needed to happen in the middle of this scene. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Fear not, friends. Your chariot awaits. You were innocent, and I was wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dyne as it was intended to be in 1997. Curse those pesky hardware limitations. For that's apparently that's exactly what we would have gotten in the OG game, if it according to you know who. No, yes, these are a bit TLDR, you know, but like for anyone at the time, for a brief moment, for like 2 days, the meta on Twitter was looking at these shot-by-shot comparisons of these games. I imagine normal people are like, what is this? What's going on here? And then, look, I don't have anything against this guy, whatever. Maybe, after you've said this, maybe try and connect with some of us that did enjoy it, and try to understand our POV a bit. And maybe I'm a bit curt in this response, but I just said, look, I know the POV of people who enjoy these games. They've been sharing their POV with me all week, alright? Okay, I kind of know what they think by now. And I've always known what they think, because in the years since Rebirth released, a section of this fan base has been extremely vocal with what they like about these games. I know what they like about it, alright? With all due respect, the FF7R fandom hasn't exactly won me over with their behavior these last few days. I think you know what I mean. It's not everyone, alright? Few have been chill to me, but overall, I would rather just keep doing my thing. Thanks. So, alright, let's continue. Oh, here we go. Was this not the response you were aiming for? Have any of your posts been an attempt to be won over by the fandom? Well, actually, a lot of people did actually come over. I was at 5,000 Twitter followers before all this happened. Now I'm at 6,000. And, a lot of people have shown support. A lot of people in DMs who I didn't even know were just like, look, man, you don't know me, but I just appreciate you saying this, man. Like, you're actually saying what a lot of us think, but we don't want to say it. Because of, you know, what's happening to you right now. And I'm sorry about that, but stay strong and keep doing it. You know what I mean? There is a silent majority. Is it the silent majority? I don't know, but it's a silent majority. And I just said, like, you know, they're talking about, like, an influence on art, whatever, your discourse. And I just say, look, what art, you know? Remake and Rebirth doesn't aim to be art. It aims to milk the fan base for everything it's worth for as long as possible. There is no artistic justification for splitting the game into 3 parts over 7 years and cramming it full of filler, rewriting Dyne, watering down Cid, turning Eris's death into a cliffhanger mystery box. You know what I mean? To be solved unsatisfyingly on the next episode of FF7 Rebirth. You know, Eris's death has been mutated into a theory crafting debate piece. That's it. Now, now we can just generate buzz and discussions and fan lore, fan theories about this for the next 3 years. It's rubbish. Locking Cid and Vincent's gameplay behind part 3. Oh yeah, they had the budget to make Cid and Vincent playable in this game. I think my tinfoil theory is the reason they didn't is to pressure people into buying part 3 even if they didn't like part 2. Alright? If I was Shinra and I was remaking these games, that's what I would do. Alright? It wasn't a budget thing. They had the budget for Gongaga and Cat-Sith box throwing and Queen's Blood and everything else. And I've even heard people defend this decision. Look, sorry, if Cid and Vincent were playable in Rebirth, no one would ask for that to be undone. We all know the Midgar Zolom scene. We won't watch the whole thing, but I think it's pretty apparent, it's pretty clear which one is a more visually striking image. One has blood, one has powerful use, very strong colors, and also when your characters look up at it, lightning strikes and you hear thunder, you know. It looks painful, it looks really fucking painful, the one on the left. And because you don't see how Sephiroth did it, it actually, you can imagine. I always thought that Sephiroth just picked this thing up with his bare hands and just fucking spiked it on it like that. Because he's strong enough to do that. Sephiroth doesn't even need a sword to fucking do this. God. Hey, TLDR! Look, it had to be done. But look, that got 800 fucking likes, man. This one did the best out of them all, in a way. I bought Rebirth and I haven't even installed it, and now I'm even less excited to try it. You should make you should make a video essay about this stuff. Many are getting ready, many are getting made from my main YouTube. Yeah. Rebirth is boring, I had to push myself to finish it. That's such a sad sentence. Notice now, chat, notice how in my comments, it's not everyone just like hating me and saying I'm wrong now. Like, when the evidence is put on display for the whole world to see, it is completely undeniable which is the timeless classic and which is the fanfiction slop, which is artless. AAA bloat, you know. So, get out of here. Look, here's the thing. I'm fine now, and, well, I mean, I was fine at the time, you know, it's not my first rodeo with Twitter, but it wasn't pleasant to go through, let me tell you that. But it was still better than saying nothing. I would choose I'm glad I went through that instead of like not saying anything at all. You know what I mean? And anyone who thinks the same things and is worried about saying that because, you know, a section of this fandom can be completely insane. I hope at least you can see through me at least that you can come out relatively unscathed. Like, if I can survive it, so can you, man. Make sure all your passwords are super long and everything's two-factored, you know, in case some psychopath tries to hack you and dox you and whatever. But, like, as soon as normal people get wind of this, let me put it this way. What kind of killed this was the FF7R, a section of the FF7R fandom. Once this got on the radar of normal people, normal person Twitter, they basically took my side. They're like, no, he's right, man. Like, this is cringe. This tone is not the same. This is bloated as fuck. And all these shot-by-shot comparisons, like, they're not you know what I mean? One's better than the other. or one has a better sense of art than the other, you know? Like, modern graphics, it may have modern graphics, but it's AAA slop to an extent. And then what the 7R fandom figured out is actually to just block me and not retweet me or respond to me at all. And basically they've all gone radio silent on me, which is smart, because when I think they don't want normal people to take notice. Not that I'm normal, but you know what I mean. 7 Remake can only sort of survive in its little gaslight bubble echo chamber, you could say. I don't know. I mean, what else do I call it, man? If it was the truth, then how come the second that, like, it gets mainstream attention, the mainstream is just like, man, what the fuck? No, these games, this is FF7 Love and Thunder, man. This is FF7 Guardians of the Galaxy. And why are you trying to cancel this guy because he basically told the truth? Because he had an opinion on a video game that looks insane. It looks insane, the reaction. So that's why they, I think, have gone radio silent on it. Or they've just moved on, which is totally fine, you know? You know, of course there's the Bryan Cranston Breaking Bad part of the brain. It's like, it's all about me. And for a few days it was. But no, it is what it is. And lastly this, and you know what? After this, I was like, you know what? I've been tweeting about FF7 Rebirth for 10 days straight. I was like, you know what? I think I've made my point. No need to thank me, citizens. My work here is done. And I flew off into a Kingdom Hearts multiverse. I flew off into another dimension where I lived happily ever after with my own private ship. So now I've basically just gone radio silent on Twitter. I might comment on another post if I think it's interesting, but as for me, just tweeting about these shot-by-shot comparisons, I think it's died down. I think we've all heard enough. And I hope that anyone who feels the same way as I do about Remake and Rebirth, I hope that my tweets, I hope that my videos have provided you with a set of arguments and counter-arguments to these points. I hope that these tweets have given you some evidence, and I hope that it's provided even a system of thinking, man. I hope that you guys are able to articulate yourselves why the Remake and Rebirth do not feel as special as the OG, or don't feel special at all, to be honest. Why they feel bloated, boring, cringy, in a way that's not the same as the original. Why they don't capture the tone of the OG. You know, and of course, be civil. And I will say, obviously do not go after anyone. Don't go after content creators. Don't go after viewers. Don't go after anyone who's in these chats and stuff. Like, let's all be bloody respectful. I can tank it. I can tank the hit. Don't be like them. That's what I'll say. Don't behave like the FF7R fandom.